It's a strong report. It endorses everything the Guardian has been saying, sometimes in the teeth of criticism from people who didn't want to believe what the Guardian was saying.
This story actually comes out of a tiny thing, a court case about one journalist behaving badly. Any human being with their brain switched on would look at the story that was told at that time and say, this can't be true. That this one reporter would do this, that this one private investigator was doing all this off his own bat, and that the News of the World didn't know either of them were doing it. Highly unlikely to be true.
The committee has found that the phone hacking went on inside the News of the World. They say they'll never know exactly the number of people who were hacked into. They don't believe the News of the World version of events, which said it was only one rotten apple. They say that is inconceivable that that could be true. They're extremely critical of the police for not investigating properly, and they're extremely critical of the Press Complaints Commission for not looking at it properly.
The report says that what the Guardian was putting in the story was new. The information that we were disclosing had been in the possession of the police and the Information Commission's office for several years. So in that sense, the information was old, but it had all been hidden. None of it had been in the public domain. So far as the public was concerned, this was all new stuff.
The MPs have expressed surprise that the police didn't use the powers that they have got when they found out what was going on, and that they didn't go into the News of the World and ask the obvious questions that the Select Committee themselves wanted to ask. They express extreme surprise that the Press Complaints Commission, which is supposed to be the industry regulator, has been so incurious and accepting of the official version of events.
You can see from reading the Select Committee report that there was a serious problem inside the News of the World. And I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who worked for the News of the World during that era, and they all say the same thing, that there was rampant use of private investigators doing all kinds of illegal things.
It uses a rather damning phrase, which is collective amnesia and obfuscation. So it was really saying that he has an organisation that seems to have forgotten all the details of what went on, or won't answer, or has obfuscated. So in parliamentary terms, these are quite strong terms to be using about a corporation.
The Press Complaints Commission absolutely failed to play straight. The police didn't do their jobs properly. There was a worry that the Select Committee would come under political pressure and bury the truth again. And to their great credit, they didn't. They've played straight, and I'm very relieved that they did that.
So I think the PCC, which is conducting its own review of governance at the moment, should use this report as a spur for action. It has got to look at the things that the committee says about being more proactive, about its composition, about its transparency, about whether it has severe enough penalties. It describes it as toothless in comparison with other regulators. So I think this is a wake-up call for the PCC.
The story won't go away for several different reasons. First of all, the fact that the former editor is now poised to cross the doorstep into Downing Street and become one of the most powerful people in the country means that all of the questions around him will keep being raised until they're finally answered. The other thing is that there is a queue slowly forming of public figures who are suing the News of the World because their voicemail was intercepted, and that will keep the thing coming back to court, coming back to court. And the risk from the News of the World's point of view is that eventually somebody will sue and will refuse to be bought off, and then we'll actually have a court hearing where all the evidence is disclosed.